All right, guys. So this week we're going to talk about our third and I believe final part. We'll go with it's probably the final part for now on pattern mixing. So the first part we talked about what constitutes a neutral. Neutrals are going to be stripes, checkerboards, animal print, polka dots, black and white. Those are all going to be kind of neutrals in pattern mixing. The second week, we talked about advanced pattern mixing and how to mix and match patterns that don't fall into that neutral category, how to mix and match things that are not stripes and flowers and polka dots and all this other stuff, right? So this week, we're talking about how to mix and match 3 different prints and how you're going to kind of make that work most of the time. So I have 3 examples on mannequins behind me, but then I also have my own outfit as an example. So today I have leggings because it's cold, and then I have a Cassie skirt on, which has this really fun, I don't know, it's like a multicolor, it's almost watercolory sort of print. It's got like a little like arrows and all kinds of fun stuff on it. But it has shades of like purple and burgundy and blues and greens and browns and golds and stuff like that. And then I have a classic tee on, which you can see, hang on, let me get a little bit closer so you can kind of see. It has stripes. It's cream and like a dusty rose micro stripe. Or not a micro stripe, this is like a true stripe because it's like kind of bold. And then I have this Sarah, which is stunning and I freaking love, which is houndstooth print in like this houndstooth checkerboard crisscrossy weave in shades of gold and purple and brown and burgundy and stuff. So why this all works together is because I have one neutral kind of anchoring the main piece, which is going to be this. I have one that almost acts like a neutral. It's not quite like this, but this piece also kind of almost acts like a neutral. And then I have my skirt, which is kind of bold. Now, the way that I've pulled all of this off and together is because I have used accessories strategically. So my necklaces are gold and green. I have 2 different ones. This one is from Target. This one is from Noonday. Gold and green. They are pulling out the colors from my skirt and also from my sweater, my Sarah. So then the other parts are that I have this like rose color is also present in my skirt. The cream acts as a neutral and helps to pull in the Sarah because it's got the same cream color. And then the Sarah has a lot of the same colors as the skirt. So the only part that's like kind of not part of this is that green color, which is why I have it in a necklace and why I have these like dusty turquoise leggings on. It helps to kind of bring the skirt together and make it all kind of one whole. Plus, the other thing you want to do, one of the main ways you get 3 patterns to work together is keeping them all similar color families, because that's going to make it easier to make sure that your prints all go together really nicely. So you combine your similar color families, but it can look a little bit boring and a little matronly to have all the same color family. You can make a monochromatic look work and be really fashionable and on trend, but it is a little bit more difficult. So the way you kind of break that up and make it so that it's less traditional looking and more kind of fashion forward is you're going to add a little bit of a pop of some other color that's complementary but not exactly the same. So this outfit would actually not look as cute. I almost wore a different skirt, but I didn't, because the other skirt I had is like purple and reds. It's like deep wine colors, and I felt like it would be too matchy-matchy. I would have too much like with the rose like stripes and then the Sarah that's got the same colors and then a skirt with the same colors. It would just be a lot. This way I have 2 very coordinated pieces, my Sarah and my classic, and then I have this pop of like green and turquoise on my skirt, which kind of gives me a little bit of a funky, kind of throwing off my 2 matchy-matchy vibe, if that makes sense. So a lot of this behind me has the same concept, where we've taken kind of a color palette and used that as a base, and then we've added in a different color, like an injection of a different color in just like one piece, generally. Not all of these are exactly the same case with that, but most of them are. So that's a big key, is lots of matching, but also throw in one funky color that doesn't necessarily like matchy-matchy. The other parts are going to be accessorizing to pull in together all your colors so that it looks like the whole thing seems to make sense. So like this green necklace pulls in my skirt, so it makes it so that my skirt makes sense and I don't just randomly have a green skirt on. And then the other part would be that you're going to have, you do pretty much have to have at least one neutral anchor piece. There are ways where you don't have to, but it would be very lucky to get away with it. You usually need at least one kind of traditional neutral piece to anchor it. So in this case, I have my striped classic tee as my anchor neutral, and then 2 accent pieces. And again, you're going to go back to that second lesson where we talked about dominant and accent patterns. I have a dominant pattern, and then I have my accent pattern. So let's get started on some of the ones that I have as examples. So the first one is the one on the mannequin. This is a 2XL, or no, this is an XL Lola with an extra large classic tee and a medium Lindsay. So we have 3 different patterns going on here. But if you'll remember from lesson 1, we have a checkerboard which acts as a neutral. Checkerboards are totally neutral, and it's this beige, really nice beige color scheme. And then I have this bold classic tee that's a very like big floral. It's a very large floral, mixed with a small geometric print. So you get to kind of combine a few different things. So when you are mixing so many patterns, another thing you want to kind of try to do if you can is to mix large print patterns, like large scale patterns, with smaller scale patterns. So this classic is a large scale pattern. That floral print is really, really big. But this Lindsay is kind of a small medium shape pattern. I'm gonna get a little bit closer so you can see. It's these like geometric medallions. It's super pretty, very like stained glass, but it's a small to medium scale print. It has some of the same like golds and oranges and reds that are present in the classic tee, but part of what makes it work is that it's pulling those colors out of the classic tee, but it is also pulling out these like browns and tans from the checkerboard skirt. So going back to our talk about injections of color, our injection of color here is actually this checkerboard skirt. Your injection of color doesn't need to be like a bright, bold color necessarily. It can be just a color that doesn't make it so matchy-matchy. If we didn't have this, if we didn't have the Lola underneath, this would be very, very matchy-matchy. If we had paired it with, say, a red skirt, so matchy-matchy, you'd just have too much red going on. But when you add in a large element in a completely different color palette compared to the rest of it, but still having like some matching, like again, this has similar tones in it, it's the same kind of browns, you end up kind of creating a cohesive overall look. The next option that I have is a different color palette, but the same theory as here. This is a small Anna with an extra small classic tee and a small Sarah. So we have our neutral print, which is this stripe. This is our true neutral. We have a floral that's a small scale floral with a medium scale hash mark. This hash mark almost reads as a neutral, but not quite. So this has the same colors of yellow that are present in the skirt, but it has a lot of other colors going on here too, like the purples and some pinks and reds and stuff. So it's breaking it up and making it so it's not so matchy-matchy, because this Sarah is an almost exact match. It is actually to some of the background shades. There's a few different shades of blue happening here. So the Sarah is an exact match to the Anna, and if we had just left it as the Sarah and the Anna, it would almost be too matchy-matchy potentially. But because I've thrown in this like greens and purples and things like that, it's pulling out the yellow from the skirt in big pops, but it's also breaking up that overall monochromatic look. And then the last option that I have for you guys, we have a small Carly with a medium Sarah and a medium classic tee. This small Carly has like a grayish background. It's like a beige and gray had a baby. And then it has these like peachy colored hash marks. This is reading almost like a neutral. And then we have this bolder top, which is like sort of faded looking, but it's blues and oranges and corals and peaches. And again, it's pulling out the same colors from the skirt. And then as our accent piece, we have our neutral anchor is this coral and black striped Sarah. And so what happens is this shirt pulls out the peach from the dress. And then this Sarah is a big bold take on the same corally peachy colors that are in the top, but this top has that blue background, which is our big pop of a different color. So this is in the same color family as this. Even though they're different colors, they're the same color family. They're both in that peachy corally color. And then the shirt has those accents, but it also has that bright, bright blue. And so the blue helps to break it up and make it seem a little bit more interesting and less matchy-matchy. Does that make sense? So that's all I have for you guys today. I'll be dropping some more pictures of 3-piece outfits, kind of showing different ways to mix and match with multiple pieces in our group a little bit. So make sure you join. It's facebook.com/groups/LuLaRoe, Jenny, Myra. And then I'll also probably do a blog post a little bit later this week at spiderandcricket.com if you want to check that out. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I feel like this is a lot of fun. I know it's not for everybody to mix and match that many patterns. It doesn't have to be, but clothing is fun and you should play with it. So, yeah, let me know if you need any help or if you have any questions, guys. Bye!